Another day, another diary. So, my name's Brooke. This is my diary. We mostly just chat here. First things first, I am in a different area. I'm sitting in my bed. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if you like it, but let me know what you think. Also, I'm using my new lights. Aren't they nice? They're very bright. They're very shiny. Okay. So, first things first. Today, I think we're going to have little topics for every diary. So I'll tell you about my day and stuff and all of that good thing. Go over habits, give you some motivation. And then also some of the stuff that like maybe I think about throughout the day. I'm not saying I'm philosophical, but I feel like sometimes I just randomly think of things and I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to talk about a little bit more. One of those things is I'm making a baby blanket right now for my older sister. She's having her second baby. I will preface, we are step siblings. So that's step sibling part is kind of what I thought about for today's topic on sibling relationships. I might talk about topics more than once, so take it this is like the broad umbrella. I kind of want to talk about more sibling and step sibling stuff in different realms of like what it could branch off from. For today, though, I kind of want to talk about how step siblings can kind of be harder to get to know or accept comparative to the step parent. So, a lot of step siblings, I say, kind of fall under two categories. When they first meet, I feel like they either really fight and hate each other, or two, they team up and make their parents' lives miserable that got together. I don't think most step siblings really hit it off the bat and go, oh my gosh, yay, this is the love of my life. Like, we're going to be besties. At least I don't think for both. One might share that opinion, the other I usually think does not. Me and my stepsister, my older sister, I feel weird even calling her my stepsister. I call all of my siblings because to me they're not step. Where's my oh my charm's all the way in the back. Sorry. Um she's like my sister to me. We've grown up pretty much all of my life. I think maybe 4 of the 23 years I've been on this earth, we haven't like been in the same household. So very, very young. However, we've always had this kind of, I want to say turbulence. It's not turbulence, but tumultuous, tumulus, along that lines of a relationship. We've always been very on and off in terms of whether we're going to be, decent to each other, really like each other, or just absolutely straight out hate each other. Usually the hating each other was like high priority. We were like, nah, we don't fuck with each other at all. So that really brought me to today's topic because I feel like there's not like a moment where I'm kind of like, okay, did we, you know, did we almost dislike each other more than we dislike the situation where our parents got together? And I want to say yes. I would say me and my sister had a harder time accommodating and getting used to each other than I did with a stepmom and she did with my dad. Um, we, I don't think my dad and my sister have a very like dad-daughter relationship because her dad is still in her life. My mother's not. So me and my stepmom, I call her just plain mom, we have a really good like mom and daughter relationship. So, but my sister and my dad are very like, on terms of being like, hey, cool, like if I needed something, I could go to you. That's kind of our family situation. Sorry, I'm crooked. I'm sitting in my bed and I didn't put something flat under you. Um, whoa. So, what I'm getting at is me and my sister were way more difficult at handling each other. I'm kind of thinking, I feel like for most step siblings, it's hard because when you think about family dynamics and you think about the situation where, like, say you were going through a rough situation, a rough patch, even with your family, it would be really hard for you to be like, yeah, I don't have to connect with them. While I think for a lot of people, when step siblings go their own way, they go their own way. Like, a lot of them, a lot of situations that I've heard of, it's not hard for step siblings to, just step away if their parents aren't together. Their relationship really relies on the fact that the parents are together, not so much to each their own. And I'm not saying this is for everyone, but if you are in the situation that this is happening to, don't feel alone, because I think a lot of people feel this way. And a lot of people can feel this way about their own siblings as well. But with step sibling, it's like you're almost bringing in a stranger that's not somebody that has authority over you, which leads to this dynamic of there's a peer that lives with you that you don't know how to share that space with. And I'm saying this as one, you could be an only child getting a sibling for the first time, or you can be siblings getting a sibling, or one individual person getting multiple siblings. Like, there's very different ones where this applies to, in my opinion, where you have this new peer coming into the situation where you're like, okay, they're with us either all of the time, half the time, some of the time, and you have to share your safe space with them and still have the value of acting the same way in that shared space that you would otherwise. So I I think when my parents got together, me and my sister probably should have been introduced to each other than before they moved in. But realistically, that would never happen. And the reason I'm bringing all of this up is I think a lot of people struggle with siblinghood and the way sibling dynamics work. And I want you to know, from somebody who struggled a lot with a sibling, that having sibling struggles and not having a perfect sibling relationship is something that you can work through if you want to, but also isn't necessarily something you have to work through if you don't want to. I think a lot of people put the pressure of your sibling should be your best friend, whether or not they're step siblings or regular siblings, on people, in this idea that they're the built-in best friends. They're gonna be like, with you for life. They're gonna be the aunts and uncles of your children. Oh, Winifred, and all of that type of deal. And I just want to reassure you that, like, any struggles you have with your siblings is one, mostly a one, I think, oh, sorry, let me restart. Any struggles you have with your siblings comes from a lot of different things. And a lot of the times, I don't think it's necessarily the individuals in the situation's fault. It's not your fault and it's not their fault. In terms of the tense, is I think a lot of parents pit their children against each other, whether they mean to or not. The term golden child brings that to mind. Step siblings, I feel like, face this a lot because they have two parents that are their own parent, they have the stranger parent, and then they have a new sibling or siblings. And a lot of the times, they can either feel like they lose their parents in the process, or they gained a family they did not want. And that's where the parent should have stepped up. And then there's other times where your sibling's just an absolute monster of a person. That can happen too. But I would say, don't be upset if you're not close to your sibling like you think you should be. I'm personally not super close to my older sister. I am giving her, a nice gift for her new baby, but it's not like we're best friends. Me and my sister are at best probably like friendly acquaintances. it's not any fault of our own. It's just we didn't grow up where we were like, oh, we're going to be best friends, but we also, learned to live with each other. I don't know if any of this stuff made sense. I just want to reassure you, if you don't have the relationship with your sibling that you're being told that you should have, don't worry about it. If you want to get a better relationship with your sibling, we can talk about that maybe in another video. No, I'll talk about it a little bit right now. I would say talk, if you're an adult like me, talk to your sibling in a way that you would talk to a friend that, you might have had like an argument with. Sit down, kind of tell them your feelings, tell them your thoughts, and express that you want to build and foster a better relationship. I think as an adult, you both should be receiving, proper communication of your own feelings and boundaries and that willingness to establish a relationship. If they're also an adult, if it's a child and you're the adult, so if you have a younger, like step sibling or younger sibling you're not close to, that's where you probably are going to have to do more of the work. As an adult trying to get to know their younger siblings, they are children. They are not going to have the emotional or, logistical maturity when it comes to, garnering a relationship with a sibling that would be the same as an adult sibling. And also, they are experience different stages in your life that you already went through, that like when I look back at my childhood, I can see my own emotional immaturity, like from when I'm really young and from when I was around my youngest brother's age. And it's like when I communicate with him, I can't, I try to put myself back in that spot, not like, be super immature, but, not lecture them on not knowing things we know now. Because it's really easy for us to step into that fake, temporary role of a parent as a way older sibling. So be careful when you're building a relationship with your younger siblings, not to like be another parent of theirs, or like, the fun parent, that type of deal. Don't step in that direction. Now, if you're younger, teenager, middle school, younger, I would say the best you can do is spend time with them, even if it's in silence, because you still most likely live in the same household. You probably do a lot of things together. I would start building a relationship if you don't feel like you're very close by just spending a lot of time in, maybe silence or one thing that you really do like enjoy to do together. It's also hard because at that age, you're both most likely going through so many changes in your life that it's easy to be mean to a sibling because they're around you all the time. It's easy to be mean to somebody because it's most likely you're also super comfortable with your sibling. I'm not saying that's all the time, but when you sit with somebody, when you're around somebody all the time, you can lash out. And with siblings, they tend to make you mad or know what makes you mad and know what buttons to push and all of that sorts of things that sometimes silence together is a better route than, trying to talk it out. Because talking it out might piss somebody off. And that might put you back in square one. We might talk about that more later. I do have two way younger siblings. And me and my older sister are actually closest in age. We just, we don't have a relationship that's easy for me to, use as an example of like being close to. Though getting closer to my sister might be one, because I do think she would like a little bit more of a relationship. At least I would. I would like a relationship with her. And I have to be careful in the terms of not wanting a relationship with her to have a relationship with my niece and nephew. Because then that puts her in the position of me not truly caring about the relationship with her without having selfish motivation. And your relationships should be based off the fact that you want to be around the person you're garnering that with, not for the benefits of, something else or getting something out of it, such as, niece and nephew. That's all I've got to say today. I feel like I've talked a lot. Anyways, habits were good. I'd go over them, but my list isn't in front of me and I don't feel like jumbling and jumping around. So, yeah, have a great night. Sorry I rambled. I hope that if you have a sibling, everything's good, everything's great. If not, it can get better if you want it to get better. And if you don't, that's okay too. You don't have to be friends or love somebody just because it's related to you or supposed to be related to you, as in like a step sibling, adopted sibling, all that good stuff. So, yeah, love you. Let me know what you like about the lighting. Also, I'm trying to figure out a more permanent setup. I feel like I've changed my location of videos like 5 different times in the last while. Sorry, I thought my camera died. It like glitched for a second. It is dying though. So, bye. Love you. XOXO.